Okay, here you go.
Wait a minute.
So this was an orb that was bluish. It also was changing color. Completely silent, and it was riding along the coastline. It was very low to the water.
Yeah, and you could it's
Yeah,
very
it's pretty low.
it's definitely low to the water, and you could see that this thing is rotating. It's more of in a visible light spectrum now. You can see of course the color. You could see blue. That it does redshift. It does redshift, but it's rotating. It's rotating at a rapid clip at this point.
If you notice, there's two separate objects. There's one on the water.
Right.
That object on the water is also an anomaly. That's actually following this and keeping pace with it. And it disappears from time to time. Whether it's sticking under the water or just disappearing is hard to say, but it was following this.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me go back. Let's show you. Yeah, so this we caught.
And this was a pretty large object. This was probably about the size of a car.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Wait a minute.
Of course, that's the Atlantic Ocean. It's a shoreline.
And you'll see that this is what we were talking about. You'll see that some of this video is out of focus. And this is because the focal range of the camera, we're trying to focus on the object. So you can see that there are two different focal ranges. If we focused on the cresting of the waves here and on the shore, the object would be out of focus. And you could see that as we're going back and forth. So again, some folks look at this and say, well, why is it out of focus and this, that, because we're actually concentrating. We're trying to concentrate on the object itself. We don't want it to fringe and basically appear to be distorted.
The other thing is the object is extremely bright.
Yeah,
you're never going to get a sharp focus on it. It's extremely bright, but you can make it out. It's a large luminous orb that appears to have some rotation. It's actually at times it's changing its colors, color schemes, color spectrum.
Right, and that's what we believe might be some form of gravitational lensing around the object. And that could also be affecting light itself, the focal point of light. It's if it's being lensed, it's distorting. It's distorting light rays as well. The same that it would do to which we're encountering radio waves. It doesn't seem to matter as far as wavelength. Other than shifting it one direction or the other, and some of the behavior. We've looked at the INQ signals, which is basically where it places the object on the screen. You have something called a polar coordinate system, and you need those two components in order to decode this and put it on the screen in reference to distance and direction. But we look at those signals specifically to see exactly what's going on, and there are some telltale signs. I mean, there's late signals coming back, which is ignored by the radar. Other signals that fall within the synchronization pulses, which occur at about 80 microseconds. Then you have a length of time, that a window of time when this antenna is rotating, the scanner is rotating 360 degrees. So some of these signals are being caught as the antenna is coming back around, and you have this chasing pattern on the screen, on the display.
I also make an observation about what you're seeing visually here, because I got some oddball suggestions. Could it be a plane? First of all, it's too low. It's too low to water. You can see how large it is compared to the wave breaks on the water. That's a large object. The other thing is, it's moving laterally from west to east. We should see a profile of a plane. We would be able to see it in the navigation lights. You would see anti-collision beacons, and this is also flying way too low. It also has no sound. It's completely silent. Also, blue light doesn't really correspond to the kind of lighting you get on the plane. It's either red, green, or white.
So completely silent. So no obvious means of propulsion.
Yep. No.
Nope. Completely silent. It's and of course this is not something you can hear with just your ears. You got the noise of the water, the wave action, the wind at times. What we'll use is we'll use a parabolic dish with a very sensitive microphone on it, which is filtered from wind. There's wind socks on it and so forth, and they're going through. We're looking at the signal. We're listening to these signals with a very high gain instrumentation amplifier. So we're bringing this stuff out of the noise floor, to try to hear what's going on. We have filters that we have to screen out. We have to mask out that other noise, the waves, and that's what's occurring at different frequencies. So we'll go through it, and once we recorded the data, and we'll try to mask out these other sounds to try to listen for this object.
Well, that's the other thing. We had a parabolic dish on it. It's collecting the sounds very directional. If you had a prop engine or a turbofan engine of a jet, we'd easily hear it.
Right, and we're cool because we're recording those signatures, and we're putting it through spectrum analysis too. We have all of this stuff goes to a spectrum analyzer, and the reason why we use that is because something called dynamic range. We want to look at the stuff from the bottom into the noise floor, into the basement, as well as the highest levels of signals. And the only way you can do that is visualize it is on a spectrum analyzer.
And the other thing I want to add is that same goes for if it's helicopter. The rotors of a helicopter are extremely loud, and if this is a drone, we would hear the quad fans going on.